Welcome back, people. This is your boy, Real Charlemagne. Welcome back to Brick City. Today's show is sponsored by Making a Change Services. Reach out to them at www.makingachangeservices.com. Uh, Make sure you follow me on all platforms: YouTube, uh, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and anywhere you see a podcast. Hey, feel free to follow me. Um, Hope everybody's doing good. I know everybody's transitioning, taking the kids back to college, or some schools are already started in the counties. So today we got a special guest and try to, especially you guys that's going to college. I got a guy that probably give you a little few pointers on how to, navigate that system. And he's a gentleman I met at the gym, big dude. I was like, yo, how you pushing all that weight, man? I need some pointers too, you know what I'm saying? But no, he's a good dude, man. He's a member of he's a mega man. He gonna talk about a little bit about himself. But Mr. Jones, how you doing out there? Tell the people a little bit about yourself.
What's going on, Brick City? Appreciate it, Charlemagne, for having me on, man. I do appreciate it. Yeah, Jodefvon Jones, a member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Uh, you know, young, grew up in Eastern North Carolina. Didn't have much growing up, but had big dreams. So a lot of the things I had to do, I go to sleep, I wake up, and I chase my dreams. And a lot of the things that I learned along the way. Um, I just like to share them with people because if I can make it, everybody can make it. You just got to try. You can't let your circumstances be your crutch forever. Another thing is, yeah, hobbies. We touched on the gym. You work out. Black men, we gotta, make sure that we find ways to uh, to practice self care. Part of that is my hobbies, and some of the hobbies that I have is DJing, photography, and motivational speaking. And so not only are they my hobbies, I woke up one morning and said, you know what? I love doing this, so why not turn it into a business? So I LLC my hobby. So I make that money doing that DJing and photography and motivational speaking. So glad to be a part of the show, Charlemagne.
Oh man, I appreciate you, bro. You just motivated me right there. Hey, look, I mean that's the thing, man. Us. I know I like to be multicultural about everything, but in the essence of things, we got to take care of home first. You know what I'm saying? We got to take care of our brothers and sisters that look like us, make sure that they're on the right track. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody need a little help every now and again, but sometimes some people need a little bit more help, So it's good that you out here, doing your thing, motivation speaking, DJing. I mean, music is a food to our soul, man. I mean, that's just how we roll, as a culture. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
You get that
right.
music going, you calm the savage beast. I mean, literally. Like I used to bounce at clubs, man. They used to change the music up. Jokers be about to fight, and then they'd be like, they're throwing something, throwing slow tempo, and then they're like, oh man, you know what I'm
Clear
saying?
the floor, clear the floor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, man. But we're gonna come back to your hobbies though. So I think when we first connected, you was at Johnson Community College out in Johnson County here in North Carolina. I know you since have moved on to Alamance. Could you talk about a little bit what you do with the colleges?
Yeah, so I've been in the North Carolina Community College system now for almost 12 years, and started in the at Johnston Community College in Smithfield, North Carolina, as a minority male mentoring coordinator, and then the coordinator for recruitment and retention, um, and also a counselor. And by the time I left, I was a senior success advisor. So part of my responsibilities during that time at Johnston was to, work with students who were first year, um, first generation college student, who meaning that no one in their family had ever been to college. Helping them navigate the landscape of what it is to be a college student and helping them be successful. One of the issues in North Carolina and across our nation is the success gap that exists between minority males and their counterparts. So that success gap is it's a wide margin. In North Carolina, among other institutions across the nation, or states across the nation, have identified that they really want to take a strong look at how do we help minorities bridge or narrow that success gap.
Mhm.
So there's no magic formula to that, but we have to continue to try. And yeah, so I have a passion for that. And, I've since moved on to Alamance Community College, where now I am the director for diversity and inclusion, which I still have that same passion. And one of my goals is to continue to help underrepresented groups be successful in their matriculation at college.
Cool, cool, cool. Um, you know, you just touched on it. It was a good. You said first generation college. I know a lot of people. We take advantage of things. We because you look at your household and you automatically assume the house beside you look identical, and a
Right,
lot of times it's not the case. Everyone automatically assume everybody has a laptop or internet, Wi-Fi, you know, printer in their home, but that's not the case always. So, looking at, could you just give us a brief description of how some first year college students look coming to you, and you just trying to help them navigate some of the things that they've never been exposed to? How does that look from your eyes, from your perspective?
right. So a lot of times they have nobody at the house to help them understand what the rigors of college is. So first generation college student or first year college student, they need guidance in the way of which classes they're going to take, helping them identify, what are your passions and how do you want to transform your passion into a career? What do you love to do? And how, if you could work, what would it be and what would that title be? So it's a lot of coaching, a lot of mentoring that goes into that first experience that a college student needs, because I am a firm believer that we lose students at the first point of contact, their interest. If I go into a classroom and that classroom or that instructor or that professor in that classroom isn't working or reaching out to me or relating to me, then I turn a deaf ear to whatever that instruction is. And so, that's one of the things that I also work with our professors now is inclusive practices,
Hmm.
identifying who's in your classroom and how can we relate to them or reach them through our lessons culturally. Um,
Gotcha.
One of the things that I always say, going back to the question, I don't want to get off into the weeds, but also parents, first year college students or first generation college students, it is imperative for you to trust that institution with with your children, and not be helicopter parents. The children are growing, they're maturing, and every year they're getting further and further away from the crib. So you have to be able to cut the umbilical cord, because your child isn't going to be able to be independent of you out in this world if you're continuing to do things for them. So in college, we have something called FERPA, which is the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, which means that no one at that institution can give the parent any information about your child if they're 18 and older, unless that child signs that waiver. And so we need to understand that as well. That I know that for the last 12 to 13 years, you've been your child's biggest advocate,
Hmm.
kindergarten through the 12th grade. But that has to, at some point when they go to college, stop, so that child can understand, I need to make my own appointments. I need to be responsible. I need to get up and go to class and be to class on time. I need to
Hmm.
be able to meet the deadlines, early advising, early registration. All that is important for the student to understand that, because the classes that I need in order to graduate or matriculate into the next semester, it may fill up fast. Those
Right.
instructors who are very popular, students will fill their classes up fast. And if you're not taking advantage of early periods, registration, and advising, you're going to be left out in the dark. So a lot of coaching, like I said, and mentoring goes into and engagement, and
Right.
engagement. And one of the things I tell college students who are first year college students or first year college or first generation, I'm sorry, is that 9 times out of 10, college is going to be better than high school. If you had a bad experience in high school because you had bad teachers, your college experience is going to be a whole lot better.
Hmm.
One is because you're going to be around people, like-minded people. You're going to meet people who share the same ideas as you and your classmates. Two, your professors didn't hear from your teachers from last year to say, watch out for this particular student,
Right.
and it doesn't follow you. So you have an opportunity to you know, develop, become a new brand of yourself once you get to
Exactly.
college. So don't allow your high school experience, if it was bad or negative, to bleed into your first year, first semester as a college student.
Cool, cool. Yeah, man. You just drops huge nuggets right there because, I think me as a parent, I'm always, and I was in the military, so I always been the type, hey, I'm not gonna always be here. Y'all need to learn how to do it for yourself.
Right.
I always try to taught them throughout life. Try to do it for yourself. If that doesn't work, then come get Big Pop. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
I say try to advocate for yourself because you're your first line of defense. And like I said, don't be disrespectful to anybody. It's a way. It's the way to be nice and nasty. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And get
Right.
your point across without being disrespectful. And
Absolutely.
I always tell my kids that. Now I know you mentioned you from what town are you from actually?
I'm from the biggest, smallest town in North Carolina, Creswell.
Creswell, the Big C.
Creswell, Big C, going out towards Outer Banks, a population of about 220 people.
Wow, man,
But became,
I was stationed with a guy from out there, Honey Blue, last name Honey Blue.
oh yeah,
Down there at I was down there at Fort Bragg with him, man.
Omar Honeyblue.
Okay, okay. Man, we was down there
Yeah,
together, down
that's
there at
that's
Fort
that's
Bragg.
that's family right there.
Oh, we was in the same unit.
Yeah,
We was look,
yeah,
cause sometimes we coming back east, from Fort Bragg. We on 95, jumping on 64 together. Say he had a little Honda Accord back then.
that's it. Yep, that's it.
Hey, look, yeah, man. So, look, small world, but coming from a small town, and I know you end up going to Shark, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
So, going from, like you said, population 200, how was that transition for you going from there to Raleigh, North Carolina, where it's the state capital. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So how was that transition for yourself, being a young black male, like from a small rural area, going to quote unquote the big city? And,
Right.
what advice would you give an individual that left an area that not much going on, then they go to these areas like every time you turn around, you like it's a party, it's an event happening 24/7. Y'all just used to, Sunday dinner at grandma's house. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So
Right.
so for just from you, what how did you cope, and then what advice would you give the individual?
So Creswell, North Carolina, small. Um, I felt like I was very popular in the area, and it was scary.
Hmm.
If I sum it up in one word, but it was mandatory at the same time because of my grandmother, and I'll say her name, Pearlie Mae Jones. That's a powerful lady that inspired me to do great. So when I went to Raleigh, Raleigh was very, you know, about 250,000 people in Raleigh at the time in 1996 when I graduated. Raleigh has probably doubled its
Hmm.
size and numbers since then. And, um, you know, I wanted to make my grandmother proud. And it was imperative that I went to make something out of myself because we like to say that big things come from small places, and
Right.
I have pride in Creswell because Creswell made me. And if I can go leave a town like Creswell and what I think thrive and be successful in the state capital, I think there are a lot of kids who come from rural areas who doesn't have or don't have a lot of resources available to them. You have to realize that that is just your beginning. It's your foundation.
Hmm.
That's not your end. You have to leave in order to become something. And not, I will take that back. You don't have to leave in order to become something, but I think that it's great in order to leave to get a world view of
Right.
what exists outside the boundaries of your comfort zone. We're not growing in our comfort zone. When it starts to feel uncomfortable, that's what we call growing pain.
Hmm.
And as we know, growing pains, you become taller, you become stronger, but
Right.
you have to do it. And not only do you have to do it, you have to listen, learn, and take in the environment that you're in.
Right.
There's a lot to be desired if you don't try. a
Mm-hmm.
lot that you're gonna hold against yourself and always think to yourself like, what if? You don't want to be like that. You wanna step out your comfort zone and go. So if you're growing up in a small town, um, take pride in that small town, but just know that other people are watching you, and
Mm-hmm.
through you, they can see that they can do it as well.
Right. That's awesome, man, because you got a story to take back. I grew up in a small town. I grew up in the big town of Aden.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, so I grew up in the big town of Aden, but and I went to college, man, and like I said, it was like, you know, my thing was I felt like I wasn't prepared. So then I was like, I ain't prepared. I'm like, I'm gonna just go ahead out here to this workforce. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
it was like it was just it was just easier to do. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're gonna take that easy route. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was working, going to school. Matter of fact, I was going to school at Wake Tech actually, and going up there and just like it's like, man, I could make $7 an hour. Working and doing security, doing other things, and you coming from a little small town, you only making $3 and a quarter. You're like, oh man, that's some money. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And
right.
I got suckered into the money trap. And I ended up going to the military. I was like 21 when I went to the military because it was like, man, I was like, I had kids early, and I was like, man, let me just do what's right by them. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that they're gonna be taken care of, insurance and all this other stuff. I was working here, there. You know what I'm saying? We had a temp thing going on. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like these guys that I went to school with, they went and got an associate's degree, and they working at the same spot I'm working at. They making $20 an hour. I'm making $8, and I'm like, hey, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
just
right,
off a 2-year degree. And I was like, man, but I figured it out. I went to the military. Military ended up being my thing. Um, but I encourage anybody. You just try. You know what I'm saying? You don't know till you try. You know what I mean?
right.
And like I was telling you earlier, in the pre-call, I got a 6 head of kids. And all of them, but one actually went to college out
Mm-hmm.
of high school. All of them went to college except for one. The other one went to the military. She followed my footsteps. But uh, as a parent, I you try to coach them, and like you said, it's a larger world outside of Pitt County. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And when
right.
I was stationed in Fort Sill, I took them to Oklahoma when they was in Oklahoma, but we drove across country. When we stopped in the mountains, we stopped in Tennessee, we stopped in places. So they was like, oh, okay, stuff that they was reading about in books, they was actually seeing being exposed to that stuff. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I think it actually helped them out in the long run because they ain't mind relocating anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
They
right.
weren't scared of anything. But no, like you said, not getting off topic, but I think it's a great thing that you're doing, with the and understanding the problems that some of these kids are facing because you probably actually went through, or someone while you was in school went through some of the same issues. You know what I'm saying? And that's good that you taking that and life experiences along with your education and helping individuals. And that's a big testament to you, man. I really appreciate you. Our community definitely needs more people like you, and I know. So with this program, does every college in the university system have this program that you're the director of?
So as director of diversity and inclusion, no, not every college is not has not committed to making that a priority just yet.
Okay. Okay.
Um, in 2022, I think is important.
Right.
Uh, you know, especially since 2020 and George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and
Right.
Ahmaud Arbery, and these things have just been brewing
Right.
long before 2020. And so what's happening is people who underrepresented groups, not just Black people,
Right.
but underrepresented groups across the board are finding a voice through the pain of others.
Right.
And you see more people who are allies or who are in support of the perils that are happening, not just in the Black community, but in the Hispanic community, in the gay community, um, across the entire spectrum of underrepresented groups. And what's happening also is the voices are being heard, and people are willing to listen now. And so what's happening with that is we are working on becoming more inclusive of everybody, as opposed to where we used to be in our country. Is this is the way we do things, and this is the way that we always have and always will. It's no longer the case. And some of the people who have that mentality, they're starting to be uncovered. And you hear people who are reaching out to various communities during election time.
Right.
People are starting to hold these elected officials accountable for what they said, because they typically say that they're going to do these things, and then when they win the seat, they disappear.
Right.
But people are getting tired and frustrated, and I think that this is something that's here to stay, and more institutions need to look at how we create a more culturally healthy environment within the institutions that we work at and go to.
Right. Gotcha. Like you said, that's very important. And we touched on some other thing, mental health. Now, all this it ties back to mental health because, like I said, a lot of people don't realize how much frustration weighs on you. When, like you said, if the individual don't understand where you're coming from, your dialogue, your dialect, you know what I'm saying? Like, we go to New York, they have a certain dialect. We down south has different dialect, but like you said, being culturally diverse, you could kind of translate a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because one word might not mean something here, and you might be an insult. You go to another state.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you
Yes,
got to, like
indeed.
you said, you got to be culturally diverse to understand who you're dealing with, what you're dealing with, and how you're dealing with. And and like I said, it ties back to your mental health because, like you said, I think a lot of people, when George Floyd was murdered on TV, I think some people was desensitized to it, but then some people was like, oh, this really just happened. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the mental capacity of people just changed in essence at that moment because they like, this is really happening. I've heard about it. I didn't think it really existed. And I think, that was just the thing that they just felt like a lot of people was complaining about something that they really didn't exist. And I was like, why you think we're just gonna make stuff up like that? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Like we're just gonna wake up and be like, oh, we getting harassed, or our buddy got stopped for no reason, or I got pulled over just because I was like, oh, that doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, then you see like, what happened with that situation. And like you said, Breonna Taylor, now they getting justice for that incident, and it's like it's a continuous cycle, but like you say, it's just the miseducation, and then some of the people that don't want to be educated about certain things, they want to continue their old way of living and not
Right.
understand and say, hey, it's a different world we live in, So with the being culturally diverse, I'm not sure what's the demographics of the area that you work in as far as the population of white minority population out there.
I'd say it's about 72% or so white.
Mm-hmm.
We got 15% black, maybe 12 to 13% Hispanic, and then you have the 1% other.
Right.
Somewhere with that, the typical demographics that you would see. Um, but as we know, there's a lot of things that aren't filled out in black and brown communities.
Right.
And so the census, reports doesn't always speak true to who really is in that community.
Right.
And that's a trust issue. And so that's something that we have to work together as is to be more represented and be more trusting so we can be more represented and so we can provide resources in those areas that that have a lack of resources. So it's important for us to understand that we have to be able to fill out these
Mm-hmm.
reports and hold people accountable based off of the information and the data that comes from those reports.
Right. And I know it's a lot of stigma around Johnson County. What recently happened with the young lady in Kinley, and I know it's they have a bad rep about, the racism that occurs there, and it has a lot of history.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
working in that environment, kudos to the college for bringing you in, to be working with the diversity and everything, and allowing you to be there. But how was that, with the culture that is perceived to be in Johnson County? How was that, working with some individuals that may not have engaged a person, like yourself, counseling them that is not the same complexion as them? How did that work out for you?
yeah, so my first day on the job in 2010, I had someone pull me to the side and say, "Well, you know what, John? It's the home of the Ku Klux Klan."
Right.
And I'm like, "Huh?" And they explained to me the signs that used to be at the
Right. Right.
borders
Right.
of the county. But my experience there, Johnston County is like a home, and
Mm-hmm.
the people that I work with, like family to me. I worked with them. We was in the trenches for almost 11 years there,
Right.
and so that's not to say that the culture doesn't exist, because there is undercurrent of the old way, and this is how it's going to be. So I experienced some things that was, you don't want to, I don't think that the people are bad people. I think that
Right.
the implicit biases of the community and the environment in which people grew up in is they really don't know. They got it honest. Like I
Mm-hmm.
work with a consultant, and one of the things that we talked about is that people get their biases honestly based off of where they grew up and the
Mm-hmm.
environment in which they grew up in, and that's the important thing about when you leave somewhere and go somewhere else. You start to identify that, oh, wait a minute, this person that I've been looking at and stereotyping and stigmatizing, and not all that bad,
Right.
because now I actually interacted with them.
Exactly.
And so now it gives me the opportunity to open up and be
Yeah.
more receptive to uh, Black people,
Right.
white people,
Mm-hmm.
Hispanic people, because I've had experience of being around
Right.
those individuals. Now, if we never go around anyone and we stay around each other, and we always say that these people are very bad people, and we
Mm-hmm.
never interact to experience those people, we're not going to change our minds,
Exactly.
because we are only going to stay in our comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
and we're cheating ourselves when we do so. But I will say the college itself is going through some changes right now. But you know, I work with a lot of people who really, really work hard to provide a great experience for the students in which we serve at Johnson Community College. And I will say that Alamance County it has similar um, stigmas as well
Okay.
associated with it, due to some of the past riots and
Mm-hmm.
protests, and about Confederate statues there. So you just be able to you meet people face where they are, and
Mm-hmm.
some people aren't going to be receptive to you, and that's okay.
Right.
But you continue to try, because you shouldn't let someone else's behavior change who you are and the
Who
good
you
that
are.
you are meant to do in the world. So that's the way I look at it, and that's the way I
Right.
approach everybody that I work with. I can't change everybody. Back in the day, I used to try to save the world,
Yeah.
and I realized that that's impossible.
It's impossible.
I'll save the world one person at a time if I can. If not, then I tried.
You try. And then look, that's all it is. You just try. But shifting gears a little bit, man. Heard you on the ones and twos now. So, let's talk about your little DJing. How'd you get into DJing? And I seen you go live a few times. Doing little things, here and there, or videos of you. So how'd you get into that?
Man, I've always been a fan of music, man. I like to write rhymes. I like to record music myself. And met my boy DJ Midas, Eric Fisher,
Mm-hmm.
and he, he just got me into it. I'm not the greatest, but
Right.
I love getting better. So as long as I'm not the greatest, I have something to work towards. So I'm not gonna put it down.
Right.
Um, I just love, like you said, music is food for the soul.
Right.
It restores me. It gives me it uplifts me, and it inspires me.
Right.
And so when I can control how people are inspired, and control how people are celebrating and how they're smiling while I'm behind those turntables or my controller,
Mm-hmm.
it brings me joy. And you know, I like to serve people. I'm a
Right.
server. So if I can serve them a good time and take them out of whatever mental mind state that may be negative for just a moment, then like they say, I've done my job.
You done a good job. Job well
Yeah,
done.
right.
So motivation speaking, let's I know you said you transformed that into a business, and also your DJ. Let people know how to reach you, real quick, and just discuss your motivation and speaking tactics and what things you like to harp on and try to instill in people when you're doing your motivational speaking.
Right. So you can find me on Instagram and then on Facebook on my name, Jodefvon Jones. That's Josefvon Jones, Josefvon Jones. J_FVON at yahoo.com is the email address. DJ Joe Scholar. Uh, you know, a lot of people say, and I'm one of those people, that in order to be inspired, you have to inspire. So I'm always searching for that next thing that inspires me. And there was so many times in my life where I need to be inspired.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I identify that a lot of people are probably feeling that way. And so I created, along with my former coworker Derek Arnold, something called Encore. Encore presentation. It stands for everyone needs confirmation or reassurance eventually. So no matter who you are and no matter what you're doing, in order for you to continue to do that, you need to receive confirmation and be reassured that what you're doing is great, and you're gonna want to do it again. And that's the true definition of encore.
Right.
And so that's what we turn, and we developed something called Monsters, the Academy of Leadership and Success, where we create monsters. And I took that experience in working with young Black males and identifying that to you, some people may view you as monsters because you're Black, just for the mere fact that your skin is a different
Mm-hmm.
color than theirs. So I took the negative connotation of the word monster and we turned it into a positive meaning, and that stands for men of noble standards that enjoy reducing stigmas. And so we started having young ladies who wanted to be monsters. So I had to
Mm-hmm.
take the men part off and just change it to members of
Right.
noble standards that enjoy
Yeah.
reducing stigmas. And the premise behind that is enjoy reducing stigmas, because there's a kid that looks just like you that's going to grow up and idolize you, but your experience with people is going to reduce the stigma that they would put on them.
Right.
And so that's the responsibility that I think that we have in our society as men and members, is that we don't go out and intentionally try to reduce stigmas. We just naturally reduce stigmas because we
Exactly.
have great upbringings and great training and great mentoring. And those people that's coming behind us that look
Mm-hmm.
like us are going to have a better chance because the experience that we gave this society with us. And so that's the whole premise behind the motivational speaking. And I did LLC, my photography, my motivational speaking, and my DJ. And my grandmother's name is Pearlie Mae Jones, so it's
Mm-hmm.
PMJ Enterprises.
Okay.
It's named after her, and it stands for photography, motivation, and DJing.
Gotcha.
PMJ also stands for Pearlie. This is my grandmother's name, Mario, my brother who passed away in
Okay.
2018, and Jodefvon, PMJ.
Okay.
And it
Okay.
also stands for People Motivates Jodefvon, and backwards, Jodefvon motivates people. So it came to me when I was on the way to work one day, and I just said that's what it is. And at
Took it and
LLC,
ran with it. Hey, that's dope, man. Like I said, that's awesome, man. I'm glad I connected with you, bro. I mean, like I said, man, you see a humble brother. I'm the type, man. I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna speak to you, say what's up with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, you know, like you said, we have stigmas about each other. We just walk around with a face balled up, like we ready to fight. And I'm like, both of us is big boys. You know what I'm saying? We,
right,
some good sized guys, and it's like, that's another stigma. You know what I'm saying? So you got the stigma of being, a minority. Then you're a big boy, so you like, hey, you already a threat before you even open your mouth. You know what I'm saying? But then, like you
yep,
said, you come in peace. Don't
right,
get it twisted. when it's time, when don't get it twisted now. When it's time to, for the physical to come out, it's all right. But but like you said, you come in peace. And like I said, when we connected, like I said, man, we just kind of hit it off, just chatting up. We was just chatting up, just randomly. You know what I'm saying? And I said, I think that's what we lack in our community, man. It's like we sometimes we get so caught in our own bubble. It's like you'll miss a piece of something simply because you just caught up in yourself, in that bubble right there. You know what I'm saying? Just reach out outside that bubble sometimes. It could be the missing piece to what you need to push forward. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm glad, we was able to connect up here, man. And I appreciate you, brother, and just doing positive things. But look, I know you had a long day. We're gonna go ahead and try to wrap it up here. But what I want you to do, man, hit us with about 5 minutes and just drop some nuggets real quick, man, to the youth, coming into college, to some parents out there that's struggling with their youth, and just try to tie all that together, man. I got you there 5 minutes. Just take the floor.
Well, one of the things that I always tell people is that you'll never be if you never try. Um, you will always compare yourself to your friends that's natural. One of the things that you need to do if you're listening is just get in your own lane and have tunnel vision for the next 5 years if you're graduating from high school. Right now, 18 years old, in the next 5 years, tunnel vision, everything is about you. Be selfish because you can't be the person that you aspire to be if you never tried to be that person right now. And remember that everybody starts at square one, and a you're not going to have anything. You're not going to have everything in the beginning. That's what I'm trying to say. Parents, it's important for you to allow your kids to fail. It's important for you to not save your kids every time you get a chance because they'll be 35 years old having meltdowns when they've really hit a brick wall for the first time. Coach them, love them, encourage them, let them know in the beginning that you're not going to be successful at everything that you try to do. I want to tell kids this as well. College isn't for everybody. So don't be so hard on yourself, but learning is for everybody. So if you don't go to college, you can learn something. You can learn a skill. You can learn a trade. Something if you like to use your hands, you can get a trade. You don't have to worry about doing what the Joneses do. Stay in your own lane and have tunnel vision. If you are an instructor, if you are a professor, identify who's in your classroom. If you are a teacher, remember you are the first person who's going to encourage the students and give them a notion of how smart they are. They're going to think they're smart based off your interaction with them. If you shut them down, if you defeat them, they're going to be turned off with education for the rest of their life. It's going to be very hard for them to stay on track. Reach that kid. And I'll give the example of something called culturally responsive teaching. It's where you identify who's in your classroom through their culture and you shape the curriculum to that particular student or to those students. And a great example of that is the movie Hamilton. If you've ever seen the movie Hamilton and you liked it, but you never liked history in high school and you never knew all the you never understand everything that happened in the beginning or the inception of our country, but you really understand and know the characters in Hamilton. That's because that history lesson was shaped culturally so someone can understand it. And just be good people. Be good people. Mind your manners and mind your words. Your words go into the atmosphere and turn your subjects into verbs. Remember that how you're looking and feeling absurd. Wish you didn't say that. Wish you could go back and take the whole thing back. Remember your words they speak life and death. So never doubt yourself. Always speak life into yourself. Um, Encourage each other in everything that you do. Make sure that you have support. If you don't know who to get or where to go to your local college and talk to a counselor and advisor or something. If you want to go to school, you can contact me. this is what I do. I don't mind at all. We can help navigate and push you in the right direction, but you got to try. Don't be afraid to take that test. Apply to college. In October, there's something in North Carolina, there's something called College Application Week. If you are a junior or you're a senior in high school, College Application Week happens usually around the last week of October, first week of November. That's where a lot of the four-year institutions in North Carolina waive their application fee. Apply to college for free. Do your FAFSA early and see what you get. Parents, don't be afraid or don't deny your kids the opportunity to go to college because you don't want to put your information on FAFSA. I think I've seen a lot of kids not go to college because parents didn't want to put their information on FAFSA, and now the kid is out here having to wait till they're 26 in order to go to college, or they got to go through a process in order to become independent from the parent. I mean, don't sell your seed and your offspring short because of the fear that you have. You know, you brought them into the world, take care of them. And I mean, I go on, but you know,
Hey,
yeah,
that right there, man. Look, you done dropped the mic, man. You done dropped the mic on him, man. Like I said, those right there was words like, yo, that, and I see that all, I seen that with a couple of kids, man. They have to go work at McDonald's for you because a partner of mine lives in Maryland, does a similar job as you, and he's with retention. And that's the thing. He's like, kid got to go find a job, or they help him find a work study job because their parent not willing to sign that FAFSA for him, man. And like I said, he had to work for in that area for a little while to get enough hours in to start becoming independent, get a place to live and all this other stuff, man. He was telling me that. I was like, are you serious, bro? He was like, man, you wouldn't believe it.
mm-hmm,
So
yeah,
yeah, man, you just dropped a bunch of nuggets, man, and I really appreciate that, man. And like I said, we get it up and we're gonna chop it up, man. I see you around. Like I know you're doing a whole lot of traveling there, man, back and forth, So
yeah,
look, I know you're on the road, man. But yeah, we'll be in touch. And all right, peeps. Make sure you guys follow me so you can continue to get these nuggets that we dropping here on Brick City. You know what I'm saying? I'm bringing the nuggets to you. All you gotta do is keep following me and keep subscribing. Until next time, this is the real Charlemagne with Mr. Jones. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
peace.